Thanks for coming. I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
I would love to know if you can go back to 1999 and speak a little bit about what it was like to be a freshman here.
So when I was a freshman here, first of all, I've been back here a couple times since I graduated, and probably the biggest thing that has changed is there was not that cafeteria right in between the main campus and Merle Davies. So that was new, and Merle Davies was super old. There used to be all of the, the history of Merle Davies. There was like a pool at the bottom. This building was haunted. All the classrooms were super old. They kind of smelled gross. I think only math was in Merle Davies. And I don't know if you guys still have this because of the way that the school has been changed, but there's senior hall. So I don't know if you guys still have senior hall, but it's right, I guess, if you were to walk into the door, the hallway closest to the Beaverton High School Swim Center, that was senior hall, and all the seniors hung out in senior hall at the end of the school, and no one else was allowed there. So if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, it was off limits unless you knew a senior. So those are just some of the memories from freshman year.
Was it hard to be a freshman?
It was not hard to be a freshman, but I think what was new about being a freshman is it's kind of like the first time you step into adulthood and you're really trying to find your identity. I think everything that starting freshman year is kind of when you're trying to define, you know, what sports you're going to play, what clubs you're going to join, what classes you're going to take. It's kind of leading the path. Today leads the path to your future. So what college you're going to go to, what job you want to have. So just trying to solidify my identity would probably be like the hardest thing.
Okay, so those are our Beaverton High School memories. Let's going to speed it up. 4 years after high school, you went to University of Oregon. You majored in business with an emphasis in marketing.
Yep.
And since this oral history interview is about, you know, community service, you told me before that when you got out of college, you were looking for a job, and that's how you got involved in Make-A-Wish. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so right when I graduated, I was trying to figure out what's going to be my next step. I had just finished getting my degree from the University of Oregon. Loved marketing, loved everything about marketing, and loved nonprofits. So I just started doing a search online to see Craigslist, different nonprofit websites, you know, who was hiring. I was super motivated and stumbled across the Make-A-Wish Foundation website and started looking at what Make-A-Wish was all about and started reading the stories. And right then and there, after reading the stories, I just started like crying. I don't know if I was having an emotional day or what, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is so touching. Then went to the part of the website that told me what jobs were available, and unfortunately there was no jobs open at the time, but it said, hey, here are the different ways that you can volunteer. So I called up a couple of my friends and said, hey, you've got to check out this website. It's super awesome. They're doing great things. I think we should volunteer. I'm going to go to orientation. Do you want to come with me? And me and 2 of my friends signed up to become Wish Granters.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what exactly is the mission of Make-A-Wish?
Make-A-Wish Foundation serves children that have, we grant wishes to children that have life-threatening illnesses. So the whole entire mission is just how can we give these kids and their families one wish.
Okay, and so you became a wish granter. You didn't have a job yet, though. You went to the orientation, you got trained, and so who was your first wish? What was your first role that you played?
So I guess to back up, the role of a wish granting is to, you're really the face of Make-A-Wish Foundation, and your purpose is to go meet with the family and the kids, and you really are trying to determine what their one true wish is. After you figure out what their wish is, you'll work with the office and you will help plan, coordinate, and execute the wish from start to finish. So the very first wish that I had was a boy named Leon, and he was 12 years old, and he was from Salem, Oregon, and had leukemia. His wish was to meet Michael Jordan, and at that time, I had just gotten a job at Nike, and I worked at the fitness center on campus, so I worked at the front desk, and next thing I knew, I was assigned this wish kid, and his wish was to meet Michael Jordan, so the NBA great. And Nike and Michael Jordan obviously are very, very closely connected, so I'm like, oh my God, how awesome, this is all coming together. And Leon, when it comes to wishing famous people, you can usually will fly the wish kids to go meet the famous person. Leon was afraid to fly, so it just so happened that Michael Jordan was going to be on Nike campus, so we were able to coordinate his wish with Nike to meet Michael Jordan on Nike campus.
Was that a lot of work to make all those connections happen? I mean, here you're working in the fitness center. Your first phone calls, how did you do that?
So the office, the Make-A-Wish office, coordinates a lot of the back end and works with Michael Jordan and his agent. And then I work as kind of the representative of Leon. So I was able to go on Leon's wish to meet Michael Jordan, not as a chaperone, but kind of just like the face of Make-A-Wish, and help build the relationships. So because I worked at Nike, I was able to kind of pull ties and pull off at the fitness center. We had a party there that was just kind of like a welcome party. We had balloons, we had cake, you know, welcome to Nike, before we went and met Michael Jordan with the brand Jordan team. And there, once he met Michael Jordan, the brand Jordan team, they had a huge party for him there. They were able to customize their own shoes, their own backpack. He had a one-on-one conversation with Michael Jordan. Got to ask him all of the questions that he wanted to. And then they took him to the Beaverton Employee Store for a shopping spree.
How did that make you feel?
I just watching Leon made me feel really happy. One of the quotes from Leon, I brought it with me, is, "It was so cool, it made me feel really happy. I admire him and he's my favorite basketball player. I'll remember this day for my entire life." So knowing that you could have an impact on a kid goes beyond any hours that were put in, any money that was put in. Just knowing that you literally changed his life with one small wish that was granted.
So the family is there too.
Yep.
At this event, and they. Do you remember the day? Can you unpack that a little bit? Was Michael Jordan?
Yeah. So we picked up Leon from his house in Salem with a limousine. So part of what Make-A-Wish does is we'll try to narrow down the wish. So the wish was to meet Michael Jordan. And then Make-A-Wish and the volunteers will try to figure out how can we make this day any more special. So one of the surprises was being able to coordinate a limo. So a limo pulls up to his house, and he had never been in a limo. So as soon as they open their front door, then there's a limo to pick up Leon to drive him from Salem all the way to Beaverton. So him and his family are already excited just at the thought of being in a limo. And then once we got to the campus, then they met us at the fitness center, and then there was a big party for him there with balloons and cakes. I think it was a pizza party, and just kind of, hey, welcome to Nike. We're super excited to have you. Before you meet Michael Jordan, we're going to give you a tour of this facility. We gave him a T-shirt, and then we walked over to the Michael Jordan building. And then in that building, they have a bunch of conference rooms, and every conference room at Nike has a name. So I don't know what the name is, but we turned all the names into things that were special to Leon. So the main conference room was like Leon's conference room for the day, and there was a metal plate, and it was engraved with his name on it. And then all the conference rooms around had things that were special to him, and that's what we named those conference rooms. So the whole brand Jordan team came together and had tons of Nike and Jordan swag. They gave him a jersey. Michael Jordan had signed it. They gave him a pair of shoes inside of a box that was made from bleachers, had his name lasered on it. they took him to a room to Nike ID his own backpack. So him and his brother got an ID backpack and choose the colors and choose the wording. And then he got to sit with like the Nike, the designer. No. He got to meet with a developer. He got to meet with just the category. And then finally in comes Michael Jordan. And we had told Leon, hey, when you meet a celebrity, you might get a little bit scared and kind of forget what you're going to ask him, so make sure to write all your questions down. And he's like, no, I'm not going to forget my questions, I promise. And sure enough, Michael Jordan walks in, and we're like, okay, like, here's your chance. It's you and Michael Jordan. What are you going to ask him? And he was like, and kind of forgot, so we had to, like, help him, like, probe his questions. But you could tell he was just in, like, total shock. But Michael Jordan was so awesome, and, you know, just engaged with him, and it was pretty quick. It was probably like 15 minutes, but it was just really all about Leon, and 15 minutes with Michael Jordan. I mean, that's amazing. And then he left, and they're like, okay, one last surprise for you. And I can't remember the exact dollar amount, but I think it was like $500. You and your family are going to go to the employee store. You have $500 to get whatever you want. And then after that, he got in the limo and went back to Salem, and was just like, just had a smile across his face the entire day. So.
And do you have any contact with the family after this big event?
So the Make-A-Wish advises you to not keep in contact with families, and it's just because we work with so many different families, and again, a lot of these kids do have the life-threatening medical illnesses, and sometimes kids do pass away, and that can be really hard, especially if you are a wish granter with multiple children. I did keep in contact with Leon for a couple, probably like 1 or 2 years, but then we just stopped keeping in contact. But last time I kept in contact with him, he was in remission, he was doing good, and so we didn't not keep in contact for unfortunate reasons.
So a lot of the kids are in remission.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
To be able to pull off the event together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from an outsider, you would not have known Leon even had suffered any illness. He was in remission during his wish too. So it's just, it doesn't mean, I think that there's a common misconception that Make-A-Wish is for kids that are dying, and it's not kids that are dying, it's kids that have life-threatening medical conditions. So some of them do pass away, but a lot of them are in remission and they're totally healthy. And it's just something that we do to get them through those tough times.
So he was your first wish that you granted, and then so at the end of that, you had to decide whether you're going to do another one?
Yeah.
So what did you decide?
I loved the experience. It was so cool and energizing. You could tell that it made a difference for the family. I think it made a difference with me. The whole Nike team that participated. One day that we all had this like positive energy. We got to give back. They got to get something. It kind of took away the, I guess, the negative that comes with life-threatening illnesses, and it was just kind of, hey, for this day, we're not going to even think about that. It's nothing. So I was totally jazzed and stoked to do another one.
So who was another one that you'll never forget?
Recently, I just completed a wish, and he was a 14-year-old who wanted to go to the Vatican.
Italy.
And in Italy. And he was also diagnosed with leukemia. And he said ever since he had been diagnosed with leukemia, every day he thanked God for being alive and for having his life. And he really, really wanted to go to the Vatican to go and give thanks. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it was pretty, a lot of the kids, you know, are like, oh, I want to go to Disneyland, or I want to go meet this person. He was like probably the most most mature student or mature kid that I had, and he was just totally about giving back. After his trip, they got interviewed on KATU for Make-A-Wish. They have a radiothon, and his family, his mom and dad were like, we're going to go back and we're going to be volunteers. And he's like, I'm going to volunteer once I'm old enough to volunteer. And he was just totally touched by the foundation and moved that he was able to go to the Vatican. He had to wait 2 years to go because it was an international wish. International wishes have about a 2-year time frame.
Why does it take so long?
There's a lot of kids that want to go internationally, and just the resources and
So the cost of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and just putting people on the wait list. So if your wish is to go international, you'll have to send in a letter and tell us why you want to go international. Kind of make a case for.
So this boy, his Upa, was that his name?
Yep.
He wrote this letter.
Yeah.
Do you remember part of it or what he said that was a compelling argument?
I do have part of it again too.
So he wrote it to the Wish Board, Make-A-Wish board?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So the letters have to get submitted to the Wish Board, and then they'll go through all the letters that they have, and that's kind of how they determine who's going to go on these trips. And so I'll read part of the letter. So it said, Dear Make-A-Wish Foundation of Oregon, I'm very humbled and delighted that you considered me to the Make-A-Wish through my health is getting better, and I'm not as dire as the other children who deserve this more than I do. Your foundation is doing great things all across America, and I hope one day to volunteer for your foundation. Even though I show much humility, I am still very, very thankful for being considered. So that was, I think, that was just the first paragraph, and it was just super touching, and you could tell, like, how grateful he was. And
how old was he?
14.
14.
Yeah. 14 when he asked for the wish. He was 15 when he went on the wish. So. And something that his mom had said is you take life for granted until something happens. It really changes your perspective on life. And I think that with Make-A-Wish as a whole, that's kind of why one of the things that I think I've learned through the program is you sometimes naturally, I think all of us take things for granted. That you get to go to school, you know, you have great teachers, you have a home, you get to play sports. Things that I guess we take for granted every day. When these kids get sick, it's kind of like a reality check, and it puts you into, I guess, hey, you know, life can be a lot worse than it is. And I think by volunteering and every time there's a new wish, it makes you thankful and grateful for what you have. And maybe today you're having a bad day, but it's really not a bad day when you compare it to some of these kids and these families. So, you know, it's a humbling program to be part of.
So you've done now 10 wishes? Probably
10 wishes. The cool thing with Make-A-Wish is it's all around your own schedule. So there are some people that are retired and they volunteer all the time, and they maybe do 10 or 20 wishes a year. Then there's other people like me who all do maybe 1 or 2 a year. It's kind of all around your schedule. Recently I just had a baby, so I put a halt on it for a little bit. But I'll start back up pretty soon. So I think probably to date, if I had to guess, probably 10. Yeah.
So what are some of the skill sets that you put into place to be a wish granter? Things that you learned?
I think, so one of the hardest things about being a wish granter, especially when it comes to the younger kids, our job as a wish granter is to go to these kids' houses and really find out what their true wish is. Sometimes there's pressure from family members or other outside things.
What do you mean by pressure?
Like, maybe if it's a 3-year-old, you'll go to their house and their family will say, hey, our wish is to go to Hawaii. And we're really trying to, like, figure out, hey, okay, if that's really your wish, like, why are you trying to go to Hawaii? Like, what do you really hope to accomplish? Is it to see a dolphin? Or is it because you like the sand? Is it Hawaii? Or is it an aspect of Hawaii? When the kids are really young, it's hard to figure out what their true wish is. And even if they're older, sometimes it's hard to figure out what their true wish. is so you kind of have to use like investigative skills, I guess, like try to narrow it down to make sure that when you leave their house, you're really coming out with the true intent of what this wish is.
Was there ever a time where you left the house and thought, I didn't get that kid's true intent?
Well, you always try to leave with like the top 3 wishes. But when we go back to the office and we say, hey, I just met with so-and-so and this is their wish, we have to give them a case of why it's their wish. I can't just say, hey, Leon's wish is to meet Michael Jordan. It's like, well, what about, why do you want it? You know, it's, oh, I've always been his biggest fan. These are the 3 jerseys I have. Oh, look at this poster I have hanging up in my room. And, like, we're really trying to deep dive and figure out, like, is that the true wish? Is it not the true wish? And we'll do it with all 3 wishes. So I feel like there have been times where maybe we needed to go back. And when that's the case, we do go back and just get a little bit more information to really make sure that we're satisfying the real wish of the child.
Tell me about the wish that didn't go that well. The Contessa one.
So, is this going to be broadcasted now?
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's only going to be on our guys. Maybe not that one.
Okay, you don't have to
okay.
go past that one then.
There's not a controversy.
Got it. I see. Oh, within Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
Sorry. Tell me about. Well, you talked about Uba and you've talked about Leon. Is there any other kid that thought this kid really transformed the way I think about life, or?
I think one of them was Cooper, and he was 4 years old, and his wish was to be a construction worker. And what was cool about that is they're so little and at that age, and it's really just their imagination. So Make-A-Wish was able to partner up with a couple local companies and let him like experience what it would be like to be a construction worker and ride on these big trucks and forklifts. And he really thought as a 4-year-old that like he was a real construction worker for the day. He got the hard hat, he got the outfit, he had all the workers around him, the environment, you know, it's construction, perfect environment for him. So I think even working with the kids that are that young, using their imagination, it's like they really leave the day being like, oh my gosh, I was a real construction worker, this is awesome.
Yeah, he really believed it.
Yeah.
And where his development was.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Huh. And then when you're part of this whole Make-A-Wish grant wish maker whole process, you also get to know the family just a little bit. Is there any person that just resonates with you that you'll never forget, a mother or a father?
Yeah, I think actually Uba's parents. So we spent a lot of time with them, like at the wish party, and kind of were talking to kind of what Make-A-Wish meant for them. And Uba's mom is a doctor, and it was just after talking to her, like her and her husband had committed to volunteering, and they're like, I can't believe that this is, first they were like, oh, this is so great that you guys work for this, you know, what a great business you guys work for. And we're like, oh no, we're volunteers. There's actually only a handful of people that work in the Make-A-Wish office, and everyone else is volunteers. I think nationally, I want to say there's 32,000 volunteers worldwide for Make-A-Wish. So it really is a program that's driven by volunteers. And when they found out that we were volunteers, they were like, what? This isn't, like, you guys just do this on your own for no reason? Like, why do you guys do this? I can't believe you're out here. And they're like, you're helping my family, and you don't even have to help my family. You're just choosing to do this. Like, this is so great. When we get done with everything, you know, all of Uba's medical circumstances, we are going to be volunteers, and we're going to help make other kids' dreams come true, because this was so touching, and it changed our family. Like, we want to be able to give back. So I think that was really special. And then Uba was like, yeah, I think a lot of the programs you have to be 18 if you're going to be like work in the office or do some of the event stuff for 21. So he said, you know, when I'm old enough, I'm gonna volunteer and I'm gonna give back too, and I want to be a wish granter. So just even it's kind of like the circle of life, right? It's
right.
fulfilling the circle.
So kids have to be older adults to volunteer for Make-A-Wish, to be a wish granter, but
to be a wish granter.
Is there a way for students to be involved now?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but Beaverton High School actually puts on Jam the Dam. So they have kids. It's called Kids for, I think.
Wishes for Wishes?
Wishes, or Kids for Wish Kids. And they have, so they have the, I think it's the Jam the Dam here, and it is put on by, I think, Miss Robinson's class, and 100% of the proceeds goes to Make-A-Wish, and I think that they pretty much run this philanthropy pretty, like, from start to finish, and they host the game. I think it's the big rival basketball game. And I think the whole class fundraises and puts on the entire event from start to finish, and then all of the proceeds get donated to Make-A-Wish Foundation. So it's a pretty big deal, and I feel like Miss Robinson was on stage with Make-A-Wish at one of the galas I was at.
Yeah, I read that they make about $15,000 each year.
It's pretty cool.
That'll fund how many wishes roughly?
Probably 3. It's 15,000. Each wish is around 5,000 to 7,500. So 2 to 3.
Yeah. Cool. So that's my plug to you students too, since you're freshmen, that you can get involved in Make-A-Wish if you want to through taking sports marketing with Mrs. Robinson, and you'll be on the ground floor for how to raise the funds and get the sponsors to bring in that money. They also pass the bucket around at the basketball game too. Maybe you've seen that before, but that just brings in a little bit. But that's a lot of money, you know, for a short amount of time. So I think it's a great opportunity.
It's really awesome.
Yeah.
And it's cool that kids are putting on programs to help other kids.
I think it's so cool. In my first talking with you, I asked you if you come from a family that does lots of community service, you know, the food bank, the whole bit, and you said no, and not at all. And so something in you, you know, was some turning point with you that said, no, I'm going to be this kind of person who wants to volunteer. Where was that turning point? Do you know?
I don't know. To be honest, I keep thinking about it, and I've just always been interested in giving back and being part of the community. And I think when I saw that there was an opportunity, I don't know, I guess what attracted me to it is you're like, you know, who doesn't want to go and be the person that's like this magic, like, fairy godmother that comes down, how, you know, why wouldn't you want to come and help and create like this magic for these families? And it's super fun, and you get to really know the kids, and you get to really like deep dive into their wishes, and you kind of like live through some of these wishes, I guess, through them too. So it was just always, to me, it was always very interesting, very inspiring, and then going back to like not taking things for granted, and you know, being grateful for what you have, and helping others. I guess there wasn't a reason not to do it. It just is, to me, it was awesome. Great program.
You know, your two girlfriends that you tagged along to go to the training, are they still involved?
Yeah, they're still wish granters.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's really fun. So we always are talking about our wishes. Oh, my kid wanted to be Michael Jordan. Oh, my kid wanted to go on a shopping spree. Oh, this little girl's going to Disneyland and having lunch with all the princesses. Like, there's fun. Yeah. And you get to be part of that excitement. So,
what are the most typical things that kids ask to
the younger ones really want to go to Disneyland or Disney World. So I think that's probably the most popular wish. So there's 4 different buckets of wishes. So one of them is I wish to go. So you can choose anywhere you want to go. I wish to be. So it would be like I wish to be a construction worker. I wish to meet. So you can meet anybody. Michael Jordan. And then I wish to have. So like I wish to have a computer or a big screen TV. Those are the 4 buckets, but probably the most popular one is I wish to go to Disneyland.
What's the least one of those 4 categories? The have or the...
Probably meet
somebody?
I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I'd probably say wish to go is probably the biggest bucket, but
yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to think back on the kids that I had, or maybe I wish to be. Maybe, I don't know. That's a great question.
But now you're a mother, right?
Yeah.
You have a baby, which is very exciting. And so I'm just wondering, sort of now, as you move forward, your 10 years of Make-A-Wish, how has that changed how you think about community service now, being a mom?
I think that it's, so I didn't come from a family, like you had mentioned, that was like, hey, go out and do community service, but I do think that I'm probably going to be that mom that's like, hey, go out and do community service. It doesn't matter what it is, and just try and find something that you're passionate about. There's a lot of things out there, but I don't know, I think you learn a lot. I think you create a bigger impact. Something that we had talked about is earlier when I met you, is the impact, and the impact is far beyond the Wish kid, but in their family. But it's like, for this day, the Wish kid, maybe finally that's going to give them strength and courage to do their last medical treatment. For this family who has always, they're slammed with all these bills to pay for this. Their kid's always sick. They're always going to the hospital. Maybe they had to quit their job to stay home. Like, it gives them, maybe it's the first time they can be optimistic about something. To the, community out there that helps. They're able to help, maybe it's a pizza party and Papa John's donated some pizza. Like, they're able to participate. Me as a Wish grantor, I'm able to. But the impact goes, but yeah, I think far beyond even just the one wish. It's the kids, it's the family, it's the community, it's the volunteers. It takes the village, I guess, to get one of these wishes completed, and I think everyone is impacted in a pretty positive way. And then back even to Uba and his family, like, now they're going to be doing this for someone else's family. It's just the ripple effect all the way down to every party that's involved.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that very much. Do you have anything else you want to add to about why you do what you do, or did I miss a question?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I just encourage you guys to be part of Jam the Dam, or at least go on the night of Jam the Dam. I think it's in February. Just see what they're doing, even if you're not part of it, but watch what's happening. It's an awesome cause and a great foundation. So.
Okay. Thanks.